Here in Colorado Springs already, Notre Dame with a touchdown lead with 5:26 left in the first quarter, courtesy of Randy Kinder. And the opening drive for Notre Dame, first their defense stopped Air Force Cole. Gary, they got the ball back 94 yards on their opening march.
Great series for Lou Holtz. You know, his defense stopped that option play, and then his quarterback does not have to throw a pass. Kinder's going to score the first 94-yard drive in 10 plays. Their offensive line is making the difference. That's what Lou Holtz said needs to be the difference. And so far, it's been the power football of Notre Dame that's been the difference in the game.
Kinder from 16 on the carry for the score. And if you're just joining us, Notre Dame with a new quarterback, with Ron Paulus out with a broken arm. It's Thomas Krug. Tom Krug right there, making his first career start, and was very efficient, just getting the ball to the right guy in an opening drive, and that's what that man wants.
Jokingly, I said, if you haven't seen Thomas Krug play, it might be the third quarter before you find out if he's right-handed or left-handed in this football game. But, you know, if you can run the ball 10 plays and average 9.4 yards per carry, we might not find out if he's right-handed or left-handed until the third quarter.
You don't want to wreck it if it's working, and it certainly did in that opening march.
I do know which arm he throws with, but I'm going to keep it a secret.
That's right. We're going to keep you guessing until he has to use it. And Jake Campbell back deep. Notre Dame 7-0. Jake Campbell, one of the top kick returners in the country, stopped in his tracks. Great coverage down there. Bill Wagacy makes the hit on the special teams as we check in with Adrian Karsten.
Brad, thanks very much. You know, Ron Paulus may have broken his arm in Notre Dame's last game, but he still may have a hand in tonight's outcome. Lou Holtz has a rule. Injured players do not travel. But Ron Paulus has made the trip, as you see him here talking on the phone, in support of his close friend and roommate on the road, Tom Krug. It's been a calming influence over the past 24 hours, particularly in pregame. They keep the guys clued into the communication between these two guys all night long.
All right, Adrian, there they are. They are very close friends. They roomed together on this trip. Hung out together the whole off-season, Tom Krug said. Morgan to give to the fullback, Brandon Wilkerson. They'd like to get that fullback working to open up the edges a little bit in this option attack.
Normally, I think the fullback is key in option football, but the way Notre Dame is going to attack this game, and talking to the Air Force coaches, they say that Bo Morgan is going to be the key to this game. They come into the middle of the second quarter, and he does not have rushing yards. That's going to be a bad sign. So far, Morgan has not been able to get off on the option, and they need to get him involved. He's probably their best running back.
The first pass he completed tonight put him over 1,000 yards, both rushing and receiving. Only the 8th player in NCAA history to accomplish that. Try the fullback again. The ball is loose, and it's covered by Berry. Notre Dame football.
Bob Davie, defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, said we're going to change our thinking against the option. We are going to attack the option tonight. We're going to decide who we're going to cover. We know at some time we're going to be weak on different people, but we're going to attack the fullback one play, and that's what they did that time. They attacked the fullback. Bo Morgan was not able to read it quickly enough. The ball lands up on the ground. Corey Bennett did a nice job of forcing that play loose, and Notre Dame got the ball right back. If you're ever going to have a chance for a quick throw to get your quarterback in the game, right now might be an opportunity to look for Derek May.
Davie's defense comes up with a big fumble recovery, and that's first and 10 Notre Dame at the 25 of Air Force. Here he is going to throw. Krug pumps, goes out to May. Good call, Gary. May's picked up 6 inside the 20-yard line to the 19.
Tommy Krug has a great arm for a quarterback. That's not his problem. It's his lack of experience in reading plays. I suspect Notre Dame will make it very simple tonight for him. When they throw, they're going to give him one receiver to throw to, or they're going to throw the ball deep. Notre Dame likes running a lot of screen plays. They're very good at it, especially to Mark Edwards, their fullback. And on second down, their favorite down, but they've been running the ball well. I think they're just going to run it right here.
The 2 touchdowns you saw Krug and his statistics from the Navy game both went to May. First man, Edwards. And he goes straight ahead for what looks like a Notre Dame first down. He needed to get just tucked inside the 15, and that's where it looks like they're going to put it down. Edwards, they didn't expect him to be quite as good a fullback as he has become.
No, he's a better runner than they thought. You know, they thought maybe he wasn't fast enough. but he really just steals the game and is just much more explosive. I've watched him play in highlights, watched him play 3 games on live television. I really was impressed with him all year. I think he's a great athlete and has a real feel for the fullback position. They're finding ways to get him the ball now.
2 tight end set for Notre Dame on a blitz. The toss goes to Denson, and Denson weaves down just outside the 7-yard line. Kelvin King, the cornerback, came up to make the hit.
Air Force very concerned about the big tight ends for Notre Dame being able to handle their undersized outside linebackers, and that's been a story so far in this football game. Leon Wallace that time did a nice job of turning the corner, allowing the back to just get around the corner and get positive yards. That's the mismatch. Those big tight ends for Notre Dame against those undersized outside linebackers that like to play in space for Air Force.
Charles Stafford, the lone wide receiver. It's the 2 tight end set that Gary's talking about again. Now Farmer in at the tailback spot, and he'll get the call. Farmer to the 5. And it's Schweihart, the nose man, who makes the stop.
No, I think it was a great move by the Notre Dame staff and Lou Holtz to bring Ron Paulus. I've been in that situation as a quarterback. Sometimes when you're starting a game, you need a guy to talk to. You know, things, the coach is yelling at you, everybody's telling you good things. He can go to Ron on the sideline and say, I just don't feel good about this, and someone to kind of yell at, not let the coaches hear.
Somebody in your situation, your age, instead of one of those other guys. Right. 3rd down and about a yard. And it's Edwards and Kinder set behind Crew. Edwards, boy, I don't know. He didn't need much, but he certainly didn't get much. Lee Guthrie led the charge with Mons helping on the stop. They might have to take a look at this. Coach DeBerry, who found his team down badly last year in this ball game. They got way behind. They came storming back to make it look respectable, but they don't want to fall behind by 2 touchdowns to Notre Dame in the opening quarter. Bring out the 6 to have a look. They have not yet stretched it out, I don't believe. Or have they?
I don't understand. What is this, a stealth type of...
Yeah, this is
something different. You know, that chain, normally those chains cost about $100. The Air Force paid $3,000 for that. Military.
And thus the government situation we have.
What are they doing? I've never seen this before.
I don't know. They're down there operating at the 5-yard line.
They got one of those one-way sticks. They don't need 2 of them.
They work from the 5. They work from the goal line back, I think.
Well, see, they're cutting down on personnel here with the government crisis. They only need 1 guy to run the sticks that way.
The problem is they still need about a half a foot for a first down. It's 4th down. 2 tight ends set again. Kinder behind Edwards. Huge play for the Air Force defense. Crew does it himself, and he got the first down. He took that 6'5" frame and plunged his way behind his center and Ziegler, his guard, and he's got a 1st and goal for Notre Dame. Check in with Adrian.
Guys, what's going to happen here the next time they bring out the stick? Well, I can't say plural. It's actually singular. It's called the quick stick. It was actually developed back in 1991, and the first time it ever debuted was the last time Notre Dame was here by a gentleman up in Denver, worked on a certain sideline reporter to get it on the air, and here they are actually using it. I'm not sure that's a government employee or not, but it's the quick stick. They actually think it's more accurate than the links in the sand.
He's a civilian down there holding that thing. 1st and goal, Notre Dame. They're going to blitz. Gets in and it pays off. Hit in the backfield and dropped for a couple-yard loss.
Well, Brian McCray is the guy that got there. We saw Brian McCray. He's the best edge player. He's going to line up to the outside of the formation and just gash it. This time he ran around the block from Leon Wallace that time, the tight end. Wallace did not get outside the speed, and that's the difference. That's what Air Force has to do. They have to get out in space and make the bigger Notre Dame offensive linemen and tight ends hit moving targets.
Edwards now comes up as an extra tight end. The fullback lined up on the left side. They'll blitz Krug, and he'll run a draw. And again, the blitz pays off. As getting back to the line of scrimmage is Autry Denson, and that's about it. Jamie Mons got in there to help on the stop.
Well, Cal McCombs has played it safe for a while, but right now I think he's telling Lou Holtz and the Notre Dame staff, We want to see if Krug can throw the ball. They're coming at him. Derek Mays, one-on-one coverage. You're going to see an 8-man rush this time. They play the run instead of the quarterback. It was a run blitz. And they're going to see if the quarterback can make a play. They're getting tired of these backs running inside.
And Notre Dame, I think, might be either a man short or they didn't like the alignment they had. They're going to call timeout right here on a 3rd and goal situation. So Tom Krug can talk it over with Lou Hope, and the Irish lead 7-0.
ESPN's presentation of DFA Primetime is brought to you by Honda, who offers an impressive family of cars for utility vehicles and minivans. And by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
That's Thunderbird Overlook, erected in honor of the Air Force's precision flying team, the Thunderbird. I've been by that thing about 16 times. I still haven't gone and looked over the edge over there. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Adrian Karsten with you from Colorado Springs at Falcon Field. Notre Dame by a touchdown with 56 seconds left in the first quarter. And Notre Dame with a 3rd and goal, and they have only thrown one pass. Will Tom Krug throw his second one here? He's got 2 wideouts. It's Stafford and Mays. Drops the throw. They'll blitz it. Buys himself some time. Goes to the end zone. Touchdown. Pete Kriplevich, the tight end. And Krug is hit after he throws, and he's down.
Well, Krug did a tremendous job that time reading that play out.
There's a flag down as well at the line of scrimmage.
He wanted to go to Derek Mays, but he was double covered that time, bought some time, and found the tight end to the backside of the play. The way Mark Edwards turned around and made a face, you wonder what the call is.
Goes against Notre Dame.
Absolutely. You could just see it on Mark Edwards' face. Now remember, the backup quarterback is Jarius Jackson, a true freshman who, if he plays, gives up a redshirt year. He has not played a snap. Derek Mays coming inside. The safety's going to help all night. Derek Mays better get used to being double covered as he got at that time from LaRon Huggins. And there's Kriplevich wide open.
Here comes the hit. Well, he took a shot.
Absolutely. Got hit that time just as he let the ball go from Steve Fernandez, the inside linebacker. And Notre Dame's going to be forced to call a timeout to get the quarterback Krug back in the football game. Otherwise, they're going to have to use their backup quarterback.
I think this is a good timeout. It gives them a little more time to think about it. We'll see if it's number 7 or number 11 calling the signals for Notre Dame when we come back. Tom Krug is back in the Notre Dame huddle after the timeout. And there was some talk about Jarius Jackson coming in after Krug was shaken up on that big hit when he threw what would have been a touchdown pass. And there's the guy who would be loving to be out there had it not been for a broken upper left arm. Here's the hit Krug took when he threw what would have been a touchdown to his tight end.
Well, they took the timeout. They got him back on the field. He's able to play, so Jarius Jackson does not have to give up a whole year eligibility for one snap.
3rd and goal from the 12. Blitz on Krug, and he pumps once, now goes to the end zone. Nobody home.
Did a nice job of getting rid of that ball and saving a field goal. Lou Hope will say, good job, young man, when he comes over that time. Didn't panic, stayed aware of what he was doing, got out of there, and Notre Dame has a chance to put points on the board. And you can see the game plan change for Air Force. They're coming at him every time. Lee Guthrie that time put the pressure on him. No one open downfield, has to toss it out, and
throw it where nobody can get it.
You got it. Very fortunate to get it just far enough.
Scott Senja in for the field goal. His long on the year is 26. This is a 30-yard attempt. He just took over the field goal duties a couple of weeks ago. Trying to put Notre Dame in front 10-0. And he's got it right down the middle. With 37 seconds remaining, first quarter, Notre Dame stretches its lead to 10. Well, there's the battery Notre Dame would like to have on the field, Paulus and Mays. But they have a 10-point lead as they kick away to Jake Campbell from the 3. Jake broke a tackle. Got outside. Nice return out to the 43-yard line. He is 12th in the country in kickoff returns. He's a shifty little guy when he gets his hands on it. Let's check in with Adrian.
Brad, here's the situation on that hit up Krug. He had the wind knocked out of him. Now, the referee would not let him get up. If you had the wind knocked out of you, know you're gasping for air. Sounds worse than it really is. The referee would not let him get up. So in order to get Krug back in the game, the Fighting Irish were charged with the timeout, so then he could come back in.
All right, that's
No, it is worse than it sounds. Have you ever had it done to you?
It feels a lot worse. Bo Morgan, play action, goes down the middle. Would have been a tough catch, incomplete.
Just a note on that kickoff, right? Jake Campbell limped off. Remember, he's still coming back from that bad knee that he missed the game earlier in the season, and now I saw him limp off after that play, so keep an eye on Jake Campbell.
Gary, don't they have to try to establish Bo Morgan, Air Force that is? I mean, he is their man. So far, Notre Dame has made them, he's been the key man for them, but right now he's not doing much.
Offensive coordinator Bob Noblet told us that that's the key to their offense. They have to get him up. They've got to find ways to get him to run the ball.
First man, Anderson, the fullback through. And he's got a first down. And he bulls his way to the 42 of Notre Dame. Brian McGee is holding on for dear life in the Irish secondary.
Nice change up that time by Air Force. Little change up for the Wishbone. Instead of going off guard with the fullback, they're going to take him right up the gut this time. Bo Morgan will actually back up, hand the fullback very tight. Defensive tackle that time ran right by him, and there's this fullback established into the secondary. And the way to get the quarterback to run the ball, establish the fullback.
First down, Air Force at the 42 of Notre Dame. And again, straight up the middle. And again, Addison brought down by McGee, or he might have been flying all the way to the end zone. 19 yards, Nakia Addison, as the quarter comes to a close. Notre Dame controlled it, leading 10-0, but Air Force is taking flight. The Falcons of Air Force on the march offensively for the first time tonight as we start the second quarter. 10-0 Notre Dame, but Air Force at the Irish 23-yard line. Then Nakia Addison, the fullback, who's gotten them this far. Now they go with a counter, and Dante Johnson takes it inside the 20.
Take one look at the changeup that Air Force is using this game so far to get their fullback into the ball game. Normally, the fullback likes to run probably off the guard's tail. But this time, instead of running behind the guard right here, they're going to kind of give him a little bit tighter formation. 95 Corey right here is Corey Bennett, who usually has the fullback. But this time they're running one hole narrower to the center, and that allows the fullback to get the football.
Greg Hancock, the lone wide receiver. Bo Morgan drops back, wants to throw a screen back, and does to Addison. He broke one tackle. What a nice job defensively by Notre Dame, and Brack Mattis came back from the nose tackle spot to make the hit. Right now, let's check in with Mike Tirica.
Brad, of course, Air Force in the WAC. This McDonald's breakaway takes us to WAC action, Texas, El Paso, and New Mexico. And that's Winslow Oliver, a 98-yard kickoff return for touchdown for New Mexico. They've since added a safety, leading UTEP 9-7. UTEP's winless in the conference, and the unknown Miner fans are wearing their bags tonight in El Paso. Brad Gass.
Thanks, Mike. The WAC officials here, the commissioners here tonight, and they've got all the tiebreaker situations. They may end up with a big tie in the top spot in the WAC. Pass incomplete. And it's going to bring up fourth down.
Bo Morgan came with Richie Marsh that time, coming across in a kind of short trail across the field. Bo Morgan is throwing the ball as well as he's ever thrown in his college career, but Notre Dame is attacking this option. They're not reading anything. They're coming at him, and they're trying to make the wishbone make quicker decisions. That's the game plan for Notre Dame and Bob Davies.
Randy Roberts is going to try a 35-yard field goal. See his numbers on the season. Trying to put Air Force on the board. Roberts, I don't know. Nope, went to the left. Over the top of the upright and wide left.
Just missed the runway on that one. Just a bit wide.
Should have had some guys back there with those flashlights.
That's right.
So a blown opportunity after Air Force put together a nice offensive march to get it down there in field goal range. ESPN, your home for college football on Thanksgiving night. We hope you'll join us at 7:30 Eastern. Bring 3 more turkeys into your house for the weekend kickoff show. There they are. And they'll probably be stuffed at that point, and then save room for Baylor and Texas. 8 o'clock from Austin. Gary and I will be down there. That's Thursday on Thanksgiving night on ESPN. Bo Morgan is off to sort of a slow start, to be quite honest with you.
Well, yeah, he's their leading rusher. He has more attempts than any back on their team, and Notre Dame came in with that game plan. We're going to take the quarterback out of the game, and so far they've been very successful with it. Let's see if they can run the ball as successfully as their opening drive and keep the pressure off Tommy Cruz.
Morgan only 3 out of 5 throwing the ball for 11 yards and a couple of rushes for minus yardage. He's calling upstairs, trying to figure out how he can improve on those statistics if they get the ball back. So now it's Krug and the Notre Dame offense from its own corner. Jensen trying to cut it outside and does. He got 7 or 8 before he got tagged out of bounds by LaRon Hudgens.
I'll tell you, when Autry Denson sees these military academies, he feels pretty good about his game. He's only had 2 games this season where he rushed for more than 100 yards. They were the Army game and the Navy game. He said, I'm ready.
There's what he did against Navy a couple of weeks ago. 115, that is his best. And as Gary said, the other one was 111 yards against Army. 56 already tonight, so he's well on his way.
Not bad for a guy who started out the year as a defensive back.
He's seen a little bit of that this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, Kurt Enos from Penn State, the other guy. Maybe the 2 best freshman running backs in the country both started out on defense the first game.
And Notre Dame keeping it on the ground because their quarterbacks have been roughed up over the course of the last couple of weeks. This was Tom Krug when he threw what would have been a touchdown pass to his tight end. And Steve Fernandez got him right under the chin. And this was Ron Paulus and Fernando Harris chasing him. One was Fernandez and one was Fernando, the defenders, and there goes the upper left arm of Paulus.
And that one looked bad, and then it was.
It was.
Snapped it right in half.
Third down, Krug keeps it himself. I think he got enough for the first down before he's knocked backward. DeRock and Guthrie meet him, but his first down for Notre Dame out at the 31-yard line.
When we talked to Lou Holtz about Thomas Krug, he said he is very tough. If there's one thing I like about his game, he's got a great arm, can throw the ball a mile, but he's tough-minded and very competitive, and he thinks he's a great quarterback. We just have to convince him to play within the offense tonight.
He did throw a couple of touchdown passes against Navy, but Coach Holtz was rather critical of him after that game and the early part of this week, and then said, maybe I owe him an apology, but he told us yesterday, Lou Holtz said, I'm just trying to take the pressure off the kid. After the 34 goes Kinder. Fernandez in on the stop. Air Force trailing 10-0 with 12 minutes. 5 seconds remaining first half from Colorado Springs on a gorgeous night. At kickoff, it was 57 degrees. Last time we were out here at the beginning of the year, they were setting records. It was about 95 against BYU. And if you'd have told me on November 18th we'd come back here and have this great of weather, I would have thought you were a little bit crazy. Second and long. Krug's going to roll left and wants to throw on the run and rifles it complete. And Derek Mays into the secondary all the way to the 35. And Krug threw that baby on a line to Mays, his favorite receiver.
Yeah, 6'5" quarterback running to his left, just puts it right on his numbers. That ball did not drop at all. Coming out, maximum protection, got 9 guys. He's just going one-on-one with his All-American, throws off his jumping foot, puts it right on the 1. You only got 1 number to aim at. That way it doesn't confuse you. You just put it right there. And Mays just worries you deep because he's so acrobatic. Turns around, boom.
Mays with a 32-yard reception down to the 34-yard line of Air Force. First down, Notre Dame. Back to the ground they go, and Kinder inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. And with that last catch by Derek Mays, he takes over the career receiving yardage top spot for Notre Dame. He only needed 28 yards coming in this one. And he passes Tim Brown.
Wait, he passed Jack Snow?
Jack Snow, he passed earlier this year. That's right. Tom Gatewood.
Where have I been?
I don't know. You missed a few Notre Dame games. There's Tim Brown's numbers and Gatewood below him, but now it's Derek Mays who owns the top spot. Second down. A long 3. The toss. Kinder. And he's got an opening. Down to the 10. Well, he's first down, Notre Dame just outside the Air Force 10-yard line.
Ron, I told you that I thought Randy Kinder was going to have a great game. He had 4 straight, as you look at the stat right there, 4 straight rushing games for over 100 yards. Got banged up a little bit. They found Autry Denson, and Now here he comes back, an opportunity to run the ball, and he is a runner. He's a track guy, and he just can turn the corner, and now he's running with some authority and running over people.
Had that huge game against Ohio State, even though they lost 143 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, he's averaging nearly 5.5 yards a carry.
Now it's Denson in there at the tailback spot. But it's Edwards, the fullback, who goes straight ahead. What a bull he is. Down to the 3-yard line. I love guys like this.
He does remind me of Mark